Right now, Chris Golic, she's the wife of our morning show host, Mike Golic, working with Vicis. You have the helmet here. We've talked a lot about these helmets and the protection and everything, and how these Vicis helmets are trying to make the game safer.
Right. And they're launching, well, it was released, launched in the fall, but now it's the time where teams are starting to order them, and kids will be wearing them in the fall. This is the youth helmet. And you guys, are you familiar with Vicis at all?
Yeah, very much so. Yep.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of segments throughout the last 2 years on making the game safer and how the helmets are,
you know. So, I mean, it's completely different than any other helmet because the outer shell is kind of like the bumper of your car. It has give to it. And by having the give, it disperses the energy when there's impact. So that was an important thing. And the padding inside is a lot different than, I don't know, did you guys play football when you were kids?
Yes.
Do you remember what the inside of a helmet used to look
like? Yeah, the old
like?
air helmets with the blue.
Well, yeah, and there wasn't really much to it. Like you had the by the ears and a little at the top, but this is all a pod system, and it's all color coded, and it can come out and it can be fit for each kid. So from year to year, when you're fitting a different kid, each kid's head's a little bit different. So these pods can go in there so that the fit is proper. So, and it runs like small, medium, and large, and then you put the pods in according to what's necessary.
How does it work with being the science still being so new and evolving to still go to protecting players, not only now, but moving forward and when they're retired?
Well, yeah, I mean, what they're doing is Vicis was started by a doctor. So that was completely different. Instead of a sporting good company, it was coming at it from the medical side. And then there was an engineer that worked on it. And then they got together with former players, and then the current players that are wearing it, like Russell Wilson, Pat Mahomes, they get input from all those people. So it's constantly being redefined and tweaked. And that's the beauty of it. And up until this point, there wasn't really a kid helmet made for a child. It was just an adult helmet shrunk down for kids. So they really looked at the kid game and decided what they needed to focus on, a broader range of view. I don't know if you remember the old helmets, you couldn't really see what was coming in your peripheral vision. They opened that up, and just the impact spots where kids are normally hit, they focused on those.
See, and I like to hear it from a mom's perspective, because in today's day and age, I played football growing up, love it, and it almost bothers me when I hear parents say, I don't want my kid playing football. Like, I played, on a team that had 50. The same organization barely exists anymore. Like, kids aren't playing. And I like to hear from a mom's perspective to tell our audience of the dads who are also saying, I don't want my kid playing football, that it is okay to let your kid play football.
Well, yeah, and I think the important thing is that kids aren't playing period anymore.
Anything.
Yeah, and that's really, it really bothers me as a mom. Like, you want to be protective of your kid, but at the same point, there's a lot of bad things that come from inactivity. And we're seeing it, as these kids grow up and they're having, they're overweight and they're just, fitness isn't a part of their life because they're not exposed to it anymore. And I don't know, when I was growing up, I used to go ride my bike for hours at a time and be out on the streets. Kids just don't do that anymore.
They're playing video games.
Yeah.
They're playing Fortnite.
Yeah, so it's more important than
I was just having
ever.
this conversation about when I played football, kids knew they weren't even going to play. They just wanted to ride around town with the jacket on that said they were on the team.
To be a part of the team. And there's something to be said for being a part of a team, too. And I feel like, we're going away from that. And I think that there's going to be a lot of bad repercussions from that. And, I say to parents, like, I understand, like, I'm a parent. I understand that your kids are important to you and that you want what's best for them. But I think that there's a happy medium there. Rather than just saying you can't do something, let's put them in the best position. Put them in a group that's, following the safety rules that have been, set forward, giving them good equipment, good coaching. But don't just say, we're not going to do this anymore. I mean, that's not a rational way.
Was there ever any conversation, even in your head, about Mike Jr., about playing football?
No.
Back then, you didn't think of it, though.
No, but maybe because you're closer to it. The average person wasn't. But if you're closer to with Mike Sr. playing, then...
No. I mean, we exposed our kids to all sports, and I think it's really good for kids to play multiple sports. And we did. They played lacrosse, they played hockey, they played... Because you never know. What you're good at 8, you might not be good at 14, or vice versa. So, we wanted them to find what they loved. And I think you need to let kids do what they love to play. And so, no, it was never an issue. We always said, whatever you decide to choose, we're going to support you and we're going to, put you in the best spot to be successful and to have a good time. But at the end of the day, it needs to be fun and it just needs to be a part of your activity.
Are these something that parents can go out individually and get for their son?
Well, yes, they could go to the Vicis website. That's where they are right now, Vicis.com.
That's
VICIS.
Right, and they can go to the website, and either they can go there or a whole team can go there. And there's discounts for teams, and
And I hope because we do have a lot of the youth leagues in our area that would listen in. It's just there's organizations that I grew up, they don't exist anymore.
Right.
They're just done.
Right.
It's unbelievable.
They said that this might be the first generation that has a shorter lifespan than their parents because of the inactivity of, they're just not playing sports the way they used to. And it's not just football. It's across the board that you see, participation is down. And I just feel like kids are so focused on their phones, on games. Parents are afraid to let their kids just play. We're losing a whole part of something that's really important.
Chris Golic, Vicis, VICIS. Get more information on the helmets. Get these kids back playing football, please.
Exactly.
Let's do it.
Where's Vicis out of? Where are they located?
They're in Seattle, Washington.
Seattle.
Okay.
There's smart people out there.
Yes, there are. Yeah.
If you can make a good cup of coffee, you're smart.
Exactly.
It's good to see you again. Thank you so much.
It's great to see you. Thanks
Who's
for
winning
having
the
me on,
bowl?
guys. I think I will never go against Tom Brady until
Every answer. No Tom Brady.
Well, you live in Connecticut.
Wait a
well,
second.
you know what? I'm not a Pats fan. I really am not. I was super happy last year for the Eagles, and I was rooting for the Bears this year. I grew up in Chicago, so I was really pushing for the Bears this year. I'm as sick of the Patriots as everybody else, but you know what? They find a way every year. So,
But you said every year you don't want to bet against Tom Brady. Last year.
That's true.
You probably said the same thing going into that game, right?
You know what? Yep. And if there's a defense that can maybe give him fits, it's maybe the Rams. So, you know what? I'd be happy if the Rams win, but I'm afraid to go against.
Personally, I'm rooting for the Patriots because I don't want it to ruin that story last year with Nick Foles and the Eagles.
Oh, okay.
I only want Foles and the Eagles to have beaten the Patriots.
That's right.
Are you a Foles guy or are you?
Well, no.
Don't start
That's
house
a
divided.
misnomer.
Yeah, okay.
points over Foles.
There's a small vocal minority
Yes.
in Philadelphia that likes to divide.
It's usually the small minority that's the loudest.
No,
Okay.
that's correct.
It's
I
true.
am an Eagles fan first.
Okay, good to know.
Chris Golic, everybody, again, thanks for coming
Thanks
by
for
and
having me, guys.
educating a lot of our
Okay.
listeners.